February is a month that often feels overlooked. It is neither the deep darkness of winter nor the bright hope of spring. Instead, it exists between the two. A pause, a breath, and a moment of waiting. In the garden, February can appear still and empty. The flower beds lie bare. The trees stand silent and leafless. The soil feels cold and damp. But our ancestors knew that this quiet period was deceptive. For centuries, February was watched closely by gardeners, farmers, and the village folk. They believed the land was listening, and the weather carried messages, and that how one treated their garden in February could shape their entire year ahead. Today, let's slow down and step into the older rhythm of life. Let's explore February's garden folklore and superstitions, the signs, the warnings, and the gentle lessons hidden in the quiet month, and see if you can recognise any in your present garden. February weather was never taken lightly. There is an old belief that February tests the gardener's patience. It may offer warmth one day only to take it away the next. One well-known saying was, "If February brings much snow, a finer summer it doth show." Snow was not feared, it was respected. Folklore wisdom taught that snow protected the soil like a blanket, shielding the roots from harsh frost and feeding the earth as it melted. A snowy February promised moisture, fertility and balance to the garden. But a dry February caused concern to the gardeners. Without snow or rain, the land was said to harden, leaving crops weak and thirsty later in the year. Thunder in February was especially unsettling. Hearing thunder so early in the year was believed to foretell strong winds, unsettled weather, and a difficult growing season ahead. Some traditions even claim that it warned of social unrest, as if nature itself was uneasy. And perhaps most superstitious of all was a mild February. Old gardeners believed that the winter must finish its work. If February finished too warm and gentle, nature would correct the mistake later, often with late frosts, pests or disease. February, they said, should bite a little. One of the strongest and widespread February beliefs was that the earth was still asleep. The soil was thought to have its own rhythm just like people, and disturbing it too early was believed to cause it harm. Planting into frozen or waterlogged ground was said to rot seeds, weaken roots, or cause plants to fail entirely. And that wasn't because of poor skill, but because the earth was not ready to receive life. February was not a time for planting, it was a time for listening. And gardeners focused instead on preparation, by clearing the debris, repairing their fences and paths, sharpening tools, and sorting their seeds. There's a reason February folklore so often urges restraint. It teaches that eagerness can just be as damaging as neglect. While planting was discouraged, working with the moon was encouraged. February's moon was believed to influence the hidden world beneath the soil. A waxing moon towards the end of the month was thought to support climbing plants, such as peas and beans, but only if the conditions were mild and the gardener showed restraint. The full moon was seen as a powerful moment, not for sowing, but for intention. Old traditions recommended that using the February full moon for blessing seeds, planning your crop rotations, setting your goals, and sharpening your tools. Some folk practices even encouraged gardeners to speak kindly to the land. They believed the garden remembered how it was treated during this rest and responded accordingly when spring arrived. No flower is more deeply tied to February folklore than the snowdrop. Emerging through frost and snow, the snowdrop was seen as a symbol of hope, endurance and quiet strength. But they were also surrounded by superstition. In many regions, bringing the first snowdrop indoors was believed to bring moisture or death. The flower was associated with graveyards and spirits, and a reminder to winter's closeness to loss. Yet in other places the same act was thought to bring protection and luck to the household. This contradiction is common in folklore. One belief was widely shared, though. Snowdrops should be treated with respect. They were thought to belong to the spirits of the land. Picking them carelessly or in large numbers was believed to disturb the balance between people and nature. And the snowdrop was meant to be admired and not owned. February gardeners watched the animals in their gardens as closely as they watched the sky. Birdsong returning was taken as a hopeful sign. If the birds sang too early or began nesting in February, folklore warned that cold weather would return. Nature, it was believed, always balanced itself. And frogs appearing too soon meant frost was still lingering beneath the soil. Bees flying early suggested unsettled weather ahead. These signs taught a powerful lesson. Do not be fooled by the brief warmth in February, because February offers hope and demands the patience. Pruning in February was approached carefully. Removing dead growth was acceptable and even encouraged, but cutting living wood too early was believed to weaken plants and disrupt the garden's natural guardians. Hedges in particular were treated with deep respect. They were believed to shelter wildlife, mark boundaries and protect the unseen spirits of the land. Cutting the hedges too soon would invite poor growth, disease and misfortune. February folklore doesn't urge us to act, it urges us to notice, to observe the weather patterns, to listen for birds, to feel the soil, to plan ahead and not to rush. Old gardeners lived by the sayings like, plant in patience, reap in plenty. These aren't just superstitions, they're reminders that gardening has a relationship. Thank you for spending this quiet February moment in the garden with me. If you enjoyed seasonal folklore, slow gardening and the old wisdom carried through the months, feel free to like, subscribe and share your February garden signs in the comments below. And until next time, welcome to the Bear in the Garden channel.